Okay, so first we worked on tennis ball catches. He has to catch down with his palm down and then toss under. Now, the hard part is the dribble is not going to be as consistent because you're worried about catching the tennis ball. The goal here is to keep the dribble consistent, hitting the square over and over again with the same rhythm while catching palm down, tossing underhand. So catch over, toss under, keeping the dribble consistent. We were trying to get 10 catches in a row, and then we were going to the other side. So eventually Ryan got into a rhythm here really well. Sometimes he lost his dribble, but for the most part he started to improve. See right there, he threw it overhand. So we want to be able to control the other side of our body. So we're decoupling the hands. Decoupling meaning the ball is in its rhythm and the offhand is doing something completely different. This is going to help in the game both for your brain, but also like training your body to have an active offhand, swiping away defenders' hands. Next, we did the same thing, except we're adding in a crossover. So Ryan has to be able to let the ball leave my hand, and then he has to react and cross over as the ball is coming. So he has to catch it palm down again, toss it underhand. So it's going to be in order of when I start, it'll be toss, cross, catch, toss it back, while being able to keep his feet still and maintaining the rhythm of the dribble. Very, very challenging. Next, after tossing it to him underhand, we added in some bouncing. What that does, it kind of breaks up the rhythm to see if he can still do this without the rhythm of the same exact velocity of the tennis ball. So sometimes it'll be tossed high, sometimes it'll be tossed low, sometimes it'll be bounced. So it's just trying to throw off his rhythm. See if he can stay in rhythm with me trying to throw off his rhythm while using his offhand to protect defender's hands swiping in, and again decoupling his hands while one hand does one hand, another hand does another action, which is going to really make dribbling second nature other than the action of swiping away defenders' hands. Now we're working on one dribble, split through, one dribble, split through. So when he takes that one dribble, he's going to get his feet underneath his shoulders, and this is going to be training for him to be using the tennis ball. So doing the same thing with the tennis ball. So now he has to bounce the tennis ball and basketball at the same time, split his feet apart, catch the tennis ball with his palm down. So this is very challenging. Not only do you have to be faster than you normally would, but you also have that offhand involved. So most kids can do this without the tennis ball involved. Once you add the tennis ball, everything kind of falls apart. So we want to be able to control the feet, control the hands, and we don't want the hands to mess up the feet. We don't want the feet to mess up the hands. So it's super, super challenging. Next, I was bouncing it to him, and he had to go split through. Well, it could have been a bounce or it could have been a toss. So that, I mean, he did really, really well. Now, even if he doesn't catch it, he's still using that offhand. So that's really the most important part. Catching it is like the next level. But even like when you're practicing this, the fact that you're just using that hand while trying to maintain your dribble is going to be really, really helpful for not just kids, really. I mean, anybody. This is challenging stuff. Most older players struggle with this at first. Now we're going behind the back dribbles because I noticed Ryan was struggling with it behind the back. He was putting his shoulders too far back. So we wanted to do continuous behind the back, see how many he could get in a row while maintaining his stance. Now we're going to use his offhand, so he has to go behind the back and slap my hand. One of the most challenging things to do is go behind the back and use your offhand. So he struggles at first, but then he starts to get it a little bit better. This is something you could do with an object, whether it's a chair or anything really. We want to be able to go behind the back and immediately get that hand that went behind the back to the front of our body to protect in case anybody reaches in. Because usually when you go behind the back, you're facing the defense. So you got to be able to protect with your hands. So shooting wise, this is called 1-2 check through. So notice his alignment, Ryan's alignment is much better. We're working on keeping the shooting hand underneath the middle of the ball and his alignment with that left side. So that was his through part. Really good job there. So 1-2 check comes off, the balance hand comes off. We want to make sure the shooting hand is underneath the middle of the ball. This also helps with sequence. So the proper movement, the ball should move first and then the body attaches. He's doing a great job of pushing through the middle of the ball, and he's really able to feel like what it's like to push just with that shooting hand. So the ball would move first, and then the body attaches. And then eventually we added in his balance hand with no guns meaning take away the thumb and take away the pointer finger. So right here we're doing it. So you can see the thumb is off the ball, the pointer is off the ball, and that's going to force you to kind of stay in the middle of the basketball. Next, we did a jolt dribble, so a jolt crossover. That's when you interrupt the path of the dribble. So after shooting, we went back, and a jolt dribble, again, is when it's good for sudden moments of protection where a defender tries to reach, and then you jolt the ball back down. So it's like a 2 count as opposed to a 1 count of a regular crossover. Last, I'm giving Ryan a number. So he has to process the number, and then he has to do that exact amount of dribbles. He can't do the same dribble twice. He has to catch with one hand. He has to pass with one hand. Okay, so for example, he can't, if I say 3, he has to do 3 dribbles. So right there it was 2, but then he put his second hand on the ball. So right there it was 2. So 1, 2, pass the ball with the one hand. He needs to catch the ball with one hand, pass the ball with one hand. This is very difficult both physically and mentally because you have to hit that exact number that I told him. It's usually a number from 1 to 5. And then keep his feet still, catch with one hand, pass with one hand. He started to get into a really, really good rhythm here. 4, beautiful. 3, 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. 2, 2, 1. Good. 1, 2. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. 4. 1, 2, 3.